Hey everyone, in this video we are going to learn about data types. So I hope you watched my previous video lectures, that is variables and history of C programming. So if you watched it, then we can continue this video. So what exactly is a data type? So in C programming, suppose we have a variable, that is variable is an empty space. In order to store a value inside this variable, we need to know what kind of values will be stored inside it. For example, this is a bucket, and this bucket will only hold blue color balls. It is a strict way of telling this bucket should only hold blue color balls. And I have another bucket, and this bucket should only hold green color balls. So I'm just mentioning a type here. The type is, I'm just telling this bucket needs to only store blue color balls, and this bucket should only store green color balls. So consider this empty space, that is bucket, this both buckets as variables, and the values which we are storing inside these variables should be determined, like how I just mentioned, blue color ball should be stored in this bucket and green color ball should be stored in bucket. Likewise, while writing a code, that is while storing a value in a variable, we need to mention what kind of data that particular variable is going to store in it. So for example, if I want to store a data that is based on numbers like integers, I will be using a keyword called int, that is int, and here I'm just going to mention a variable name, that is age, and age is equal to 14. So here what I mentioned is an age, the variable age as int. The reason why I mentioned the age as int is because the type of value which we store inside this variable is only integer. It does not have any decimal value, so we are mentioning it as an integer. If the particular value as a decimal, then obviously we have another data type called float, and if the range is very big, we have double, and if it is a character or a string, we have char and char array. So these are ways to tell what values we need to store inside a specific variable. So and that is called as data types. And to give a more precise thing, basically it specifies a type of data that a variable can store. As I already said, it can be an integer, a character, float, or a double, and also it can be other data types like arrays, pointers, and also user-defined data types like structure, unions, etc. So now we will be seeing those things. And now we will be learning classification of data types. And in C programming, we have three classification for data types, and they are primary, and another one is derived, and we have user-defined data type. So C program classified data types into three: primary, derived, and user-defined. And we will be seeing what data types will come under primary now. So primary just hold basic built-in data types like integer, float, char, double. These things are primary data types. And under derived data types, we have pointers, we have functions, array. So these things comes under derived data type. And derived data type is nothing but by using the primary data type, we'll be creating a data type using a primary data type is called as derived data type. And user-defined data type is combining of both primary and derived. We can create a own data type according to our need. It is called as user-defined data type. And we will be learning derived data type and user-defined data type in depth in upcoming video lectures. but I'm just in this particular video, I'm just letting you know that these are some classification available in C programming. And user defined data type, under user defined data type we have structure, union, and enum, typeDef. So these are few user defined data types. And under primary we also have void. Yeah, actually void is an empty, but still void is a data type. It just specifies as an empty, no return value, and it is just empty. So that is actually void. So these are classification of data types in C programming, and that is primary, derived, and user defined. So now we'll go to VS Code compiler and we will see how we need to store int, float, char, double, and how to print those values in the terminal. So in order to print those values in the terminal, we have to mention few format specifiers, and we will also learn that. Also in C programming, by default we don't have a bool data type, but in the C99 standard they introduced bool, but bool is present under inside a separate header file. It is not present in standard io.h, but it is present in another header file. It's called stdbool.h. So we have to include this particular header file in order to implement bool. So once we implement this particular header file, we can just use the syntax bool a equal to true. And if we try to print, we have to get the output as either 0 or 1. 0 means false, 1 means true. So we have to mention a format specifier of -d, so that it will be printing 0 and 1 because they are integer. So we have to mention them -d and a. Now our output will be 1 because I just mentioned true here, so the output will be 1. So yeah, in order to work with boolean values in C program, you just need to implement stdbool.h. So now I'm going to implement few data types, and then I'm going to just show what output and how the output is getting printed in the terminal. So let's get started. So first we need to write the header file, that is standard stdio.h. And in this particular video, I'm also going to show bool. So as I already said, in order to use bool, we need to mention stdbool.h. They implement bool. This particular bool will not come under primary data type, but they implemented in C99 standard. So that I'm just mentioning stdbool.h. So int main, because main is our entry point. So I'm just going to create a variable called age, and I'm going to store it in the integer data type. And then I'm just going to mention age is 10. And 10 is just it doesn't have any decimal point, so I can able to store this in the int data type. Next, I'm going to store it in the another value in the float data type, float, and I will be storing marks. Marks equal to 94.5. So I stored marks in the float because it contains a decimal floating point value, that is a decimal operation here. Next, I'm going to store grade, and grade obviously it will be containing a single character, so I'm just mentioning a grade. After that, I'm mentioning to store my name. In C program, we don't have separate data type called string, because C does not support object oriented programming, and strings are available in the object oriented programming based programming languages like C++, Java, Python, these categories. In C we don't have string, but in order to store character to strings, we need to use character array. So the character array will be stored like character, and then we have to mention the data type we have to mention how many size we are going to store inside the particular character. So this is the data type of storing the string. So I just need to mention a variable here, name equal to Mati Yuvarajan. So actually I made a mistake, it should be stored here. Yeah, now it's correct. So the actual syntax for storing a string is character, variable name, and size. So this is the size which a particular string is going to hold. So if you just increase the size of 100, it will be holding 100 spaces. And even though if you're not consuming all the 100, it will just implement 0 in the empty spaces. So it will only consume till wherever we are just holding. But still in the memory, it will be occupying the space, and then it will be implementing 0 in place of those places in the memory. So that's how we will be storing string by mimicking character with a character array. So the next type is bool. This bool is only working because of this particular std bool.h. If I just remove, we cannot implement this because it will give a error. You can see here identifier bool is undefined. But in order to make sure this particular data type is working, we need to include std bool.h. And then we have to mention is pass. And I'm just going to mention as true. Is fail, just some random variable. I'm just mentioning it as fail. So now let's see, we'll print this and see the output, how it is giving. So to print data type of integer, we need to mention and format specifier as d. And if you don't understand what exactly is format specifier, it is actually nothing but it is a way convention we are telling the compiler what kind of data type it should print, or else we can also mention this format specifier while taking the input from the user. So it will just tell the compiler what kind of data we are taking as an input and what data type we are printing in the terminal as output. So to tell the compiler, we are just mentioning this particular format specifier. And here I mentioned my format specifier as &d. The reason I mentioned &d is because d, according to the C standard, d is used for integer. So I'm going to mention d and comma. I'm just going to mention my variable name h. And next, I'm going to mention float marks. Float, for float it is f, and we can just mention marks. And another is string. For before string, I'll just mention character. That is, character is &c, and it is grade. And after that it's &s and it is name. Yeah. So now we just try to compile it. Yeah, before that I forgot to add that bool also. Yeah, we'll add that bool. As I already said, bool true means 1 and false means 0. So technically they are also of integer data type. So I'm just mentioning integer here. For integer it's d, and we can mention is pass. I'm just copy paste is fail. So I'm just going to compile my particular C program. So gcc and then give the file name. Here my file name is datatype.c. I'm going to give the file name. Yeah, currently it generated some compile time warning. We'll see what it is. So data argument not used by format string. Okay, data argument is not used by format string. Okay, I forgot to mention the ampersand symbol, so it's giving the error. Okay, my bad. So let's again compile this particular file. So as you can see here, it got compiled. The reason why it is showing like this is because I didn't use this particular escape sequence, so that it will print the value in the next line. So I'm just again going to, so yeah, now we can see here integer data type and float and character string. For true it is printing 1, for false it is printing 0, and we can also control how many decimal it should print by just giving 0.2f, so that it will only print after decimal 2 points. So we'll also see that. So now we can see here it is only printing 2 values after the decimal point. So in order to do that, just mention 0.2 in front of the particular floating point format specifier. And we also have a decimal. Decimal just increases the range. Sorry, it's called double. Double just increases the range of a particular decimal value. So I'm just going to store any latitude, and I don't know exactly, but I'm just storing something. Yeah, I'm just storing this particular latitude, and to print that, again I'm going to use LD. LD is for double, ampersand LD. Don't forget to miss the ampersand like me. It is called LD, and also the L should be lowercase. If you use capital L, it is called long double, but now we are not using any qualifiers here. We are just using data type. So now data type double. So just mention small lowercase L and D. I'm just going to print them. It's called latitude. So basically we can use double whenever our data which we are storing inside the variable is in the larger range. So we'll see the output here. So yeah, LD, it's long, but the argument is type double. Okay. Oh, okay. It's LF for double. My bad. Yeah, now you can see it, it printed the output. It's called LF because LF is for double. So I hope from this video you understood what is a data type and how to store data type in the variable with the appropriate data type keywords for number without a decimal point like integer, and with decimal like float and double, character, string. So if you like this video, give a thumbs up and then share this video to your friends, and we'll see you in next video. Thank you. Make it a microphone check, give it a microphone, I make the microphone dead. Don't step to me, newbie, I can truly be moody, I could have played the